When you travel now, or get this out of the way, when you travel now, are you having to take any extra precautions?
You know what? We had talked about it today. I got a text message from our trainer, and he just had mentioned that if anybody has any other symptoms, fever, cough, this and that not going on the trip. You got to be careful, and stuff's changing so rapidly with new information and stuff like that that we're just doing what what we're being told with the university. So travel cautiously. Hand sanitizer, you can't get it anywhere. Waters, anything. It's
Health and rest is really a key recipe this time of season. Even
no question.
playing basketball.
No question. It's all about energy right now. You're watching a lot of games on TV. Freshmen are hitting walls. Teams aren't playing their best basketball. But with that being said, you got to make sure your energy is at a high level.
And at this time, are you able to practice much, or is it more just refreshing?
You do, but it becomes practices are more for us. It's been a couple of the key things that we got to get better at and try to compete. It keeps you fresh, keeps a good rhythm, and but you're also making sure guys aren't getting hurt and wearing themselves down. And so we have a great energy team that manages that, and we're making sure that our guys are ready to play on game night and be healthy and be at peak energy.
And how is the health of the team right now?
I think pretty good. I mean, it is a long season, and we are young, so you have those, you can see the look on their face sometimes, but I'm really proud of the way that they've worked and approached everything. We're happy about that.
And just the way that you sort of flipped the lineup in the last game. Did you go back to your old lineup because you had some success with Jaden in the starting lineup?
I think so. I think we go back to what we do, and so we'll go back, and we've been playing 8 guys and consistently, and sometimes maybe throwing in 9th. But yeah, we'll go back to the lineup.
Is that kind of the scariest thought as a staff at this point of the season, that you are who you are?
You know what? I think when you're young, the one thing I've learned during this year is you can't rush the process. And as a coach, you're trying to stretch it and run it, and it's like a stretch Armstrong. How long can you pull it? And the one thing is you just got to keep focused on how can we get better. And so we've done a lot of recreating situations, teams that we're going to play, things that have hurt us in the past, and hopefully that helps us get better for our next opportunity. In a lot of these games, you've got to, we've haven't pulled off games due to a lot of different kind of scenarios. It could be lack of foul shooting one game. It could be your defense wasn't pinpointed. It could be great player shots at the end of a game where guys take over. And so we're just trying to improve in a couple things defensively, obviously, what our rules are and how we can defend, executing the game plans, knowing our offense better. And then, you got to be able to make some shots. And, you can't rush the process. We are who we are. We just got to try to get better every day.
I figure as individuals, as young players,
Yeah.
you have to know as a staff they have to keep getting better.
Yeah,
and better.
yeah, sure.
But as a team, is there a point in the season where there's a law of diminishing returns, and you're just like...
It's interesting. It's like watching some teams last year, one in our league, Oregon, right? They had struggled, and all of a sudden they just kind of started clicking at the right time and ran off 4 games and had a couple great wins at the end of the year, us being one of them at our place on senior night. And I think, I think with teams, you just don't know when it's going to click, and you're fighting for that. You're working toward that, and it's magic when it happens. And hopefully we get that run.
I know you're a real study of the game.
Yeah.
So you see a team like Oregon,
Yeah.
or other teams
Sure.
where it's clicked.
Yeah.
When you've seen the results start to take place, has there been a common denominator in the past?
You know what? Going back to, when I was at Syracuse one year, we weren't in the NCAA tournament, and we were the first team to go into the Big East tournament and win 4 games. And it was Jerry McNamara's great run. The game winner against Cincinnati, and then Connecticut, the number 1 team in the country, and then we ended up being, I think it was Georgetown and Pittsburgh, teams that we struggled for that year. And I think the biggest thing was that first win. It was somebody stepping up and making a big play, and with that builds momentum. And then with that momentum, it just carries and belief starts building. I've seen it happen, but there's that magic, there's that belief, and I do know our guys are believing, they're working hard, and hopefully we can get that break, we can make that tied up game 2, we can make big foul shots, so we make a big 3. It takes a little bit of a spark, and unfortunately we had a lot of opportunities to get that spark. We haven't, but at any time we can get it, get you some momentum and going in the right direction, and that's when magic happens.
Is this the strangest basketball season you've had? And I say that you're in last place, but you haven't been beat badly, and the 2 wins you have, you've won by 32 and 35 points.
Yeah.
So it just seems something's really out of whack. I mean, with the trend.
We've been in a lot of games, and shows that we're a good team. If you look at like some of the numbers, our numbers are still pretty good in a lot of these analytics. But and it's about winning and losing. We've had our opportunities. There's some. The basketball gods have blessed us. Last year we won every close game. This year we've come up on the bottom end a couple of these games, and so. It has been strange. There's no getting around it, but it is what it is. You just got to learn from it, grow from it, and get better from it, and learn a lot of lessons. And so, try to recreate these situations, keep them mentally fresh, and knowing that we've got a lot of opportunities. I mean, the Arizona schools are great schools. They both have great records. They're both supposedly in the NCAA tournament. What great opportunities to get that spark before we go to Las Vegas.
Like last year, you had Jalen Noel, and you could clear out, and he could
Sure.
for the last shot. Do you have that guy on your team that could do that?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. We put Nas in some of those situations, and he's a guy who can do it. We've been in a couple of them. At Utah, Isaiah made a great shot. The difference with Isaiah is you've got to work out something to get him the ball. If there's 8 seconds, 11 seconds, so it's not like he has the ball and he makes the play, which it simplifies. But we've got some things to try to get our best players the ball at the end of games. Jalen Noel was a different kind of guy. Not only could he make that play, but if he got fouled, he'd make the foul shots. So there's a lot of different things that are going on in your head when you're making those decisions based on our personnel. But we've made some big shots this year. Nas Carter against Baylor made the huge 3. Actually made 2. Made the big one against UCLA to go up 1. We just couldn't get the stop. So we've had some moments. We just haven't finished.
You have a guy, Raekwon, who has shown he can change a game
Yeah.
with a 3-point shot, who put it at the end of games when you need one. Do you feel like he needs perhaps more consistent time, more time to kind of get himself into a rhythm?
You know what? He's just got to be able to. Obviously, the defensive aspect has been a big part of what we do. I think with him, he's got elite confidence. There's very few. Being a guy who doesn't start and comes out and makes shots that's kind of like the difference between a starting pitcher and a relief pitcher. He's got the mentality to be able to do it. The great guard who hurt us here from UCLA won a game the other night by coming in the game and making some threes. I think with Raekwon, it's more of right now a little bit of trust in terms of shot selection and being patient for us to try to get him a shot rather than him trying to force a shot, and that's part of the youth and growing process. But he's a guy that's come in games, Colorado, and just came off the bench and made 4 or 5 threes in a row. So he's got that ability. Now it just goes back to the intelligence of shot selection. Start, no start. I don't think it's a difference for him right now.
What makes Remy Martin a player of the year candidate?
I think he's leading scorer in the league. When you're point guards in this league, Peyton Pritchard, McKinley Wright, big players. He makes big plays offensively, defensively. He is on consistent, unrelenting attack constantly. He plays with ultimate confidence. The coaching staff gives him that, and he's fun to watch. As a fan, when we don't play him, I like watching him. He's always making plays. He's nonstop. He makes some mistakes, but he's playing with ultimate confidence. And when you have a guy like that, everybody kind of rallies around him, and he's a special player.
Mike, year 1, you come in here and you're having this all year.
Yeah, yeah.
Year 2,
Yeah.
you win the conference.
Yeah.
What have you learned about the process of being a head coach, dealing with this kind of adversity this year, about yourself?
I think I've learned a lot about myself. I think the biggest thing is experience matters. I think that's a big thing. doesn't matter how talented you are if you don't play together as a team. And I think that's one of the inexperience in youth. That's the process of building and molding over time. Obviously helps. And I think with me, I think those would be the two major things. And I think the biggest thing is I was getting frustrated earlier in the year, even when we went in and before the quad thing, just because you can't rush the process with youth. And when you coach experienced guys, you might not run a play for a month and come and call the play, and they're like, oh yeah, and they're it's. And that goes back to rushing the process for me too. You got to be able to slow down. It's not what you know; it's what you can get them to know. And so I think those were the three things that I've learned the most.
Couple more guys.
Do you do much self-evaluation as the season goes
Oh,
on?
I do. I'm one of those guys. I read, I learn, I study, and I just try to figure out how I can be the best. I think I'm a coach in the work, and coach in progress, just like everybody. I've got some really good mentors, people that I study from, and I'm just trying to be the best I can. Not perfect. I've made bad decisions, good decisions. I'm a work in progress. I take pride in that, and just want to be a life learner and just keep getting better, bottom line.
Is there something about ASU and Arizona? Because we talked about how by this time you're kind of who you are.
Yeah.
Is there something different about them compared to when you guys played them last?
No, I just think, Bobby Hurley does a great job in getting his guys. They are relentless, and they play hard, they pressure. They came in here, they forced different guys to run the offense, which takes you out of the rhythm. We'll be prepared for that. We're trying to create the environment just like what we played against in practice. We did a good job yesterday against that. And then, we have the game plan now. Can we go out and execute it? But they pose the problem of disruption. And can we can we be poised with their disruption and make them pay for their pressure? And then our defense hopefully good enough where they like to play fast. Our defense can take them out of rhythm too. So a couple things, we'll be working handling their pressure, and then obviously getting back in transition and setting up our defense. And I think everybody knows that, and when we're doing that, we're a pretty tough team. And but those are the key ingredients.